Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope you are looking forward to a good weekend as we safely and successfully navigate this most recent COVID surge. We are towards the end of the book of Hebrews. We're in the 13th chapter. It's become quite practical. The last 2 days we were looking and reflecting on verse 4, in which the writer was talking about sex. And I noted that God is very pro-sex. It was his idea. He's not ashamed by it at all. And I just sort of highlighted the irony that we live in this sexually saturated and supposedly enlightened culture, but we don't understand that the guardrails that have been set up there are actually for our benefit, and that while we consider ourselves so much more sexy and sexual than previous generations, there is less sex being practiced or enjoyed, or whatever the right term would be there. God's rules are always for our benefit. And so that was verse 4. I was looking at an article that I had clipped some time ago, and it had lists of the things that were in and out. And a little ironic that there were things that were on their way out. I had not actually even known that they were on their way in. So, for instance, gourmet cotton candy is now officially on the way out. Okay, I missed the whole gourmet cotton candy phase. Homemade marshmallows are on the way in. Okay, wow. Can't imagine going to the hardship of making a marshmallow. But there's lists, and I make something of these lists. I try to track words that come and go, and note all that in the Friday update. But it leads to the question of, like, what should we be paying attention to, and what is real and what has substance? So that is the field of epistemology for philosophers, and it's sort of a hot field these days because the way we know what we know is being reconfigured. And it used to be tradition was very important, and then we got into data, and science was much more important. And we moved into this postmodern era, and now we're sort of in what some people call post-truth era. So in light of all that, I think it's interesting to reflect on verses 7 and 8 from Hebrews 13. Remember your leaders who have spoken God's word to you. As you carefully observe the outcome of their lives, imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So this is a little bit of a choppy statement, but there is built into this appeal to the past, to teachers who have, not who are, but who have spoken God's word to you. Suggestion that they have passed on. Perhaps they were martyred. We don't know that. But there is this very clear appeal to look backwards a bit. And I want to note this because we do so little of this today. We tend to be very consumed with with the moment or with the last couple minutes. But it's important for us to span time and to be more stable that way. I started a history podcast a couple months ago because I was convinced that looking at the 100 most significant people, ideas, and events in the church in the last 2,000 years, I think lots of people just don't know what has happened between the Apostle Paul and Billy Graham. And some of these things are very significant to know about. But also, I think G.K. Chesterton is right. We have become chronological snobs. We are very consumed with the moment, and we tend to dismiss the things that came before us, which is new, by the way. It used to be that cultures were very grounded on the things that were established, the things that had been tested. You could look at a teacher's life and how it is lived out and how it is ended to see whether or not there is, truth there. Today, culture, I remember hearing this from a vice president of marketing at Coca-Cola, was explaining that they were focused on the interests and the trends and the aptitudes and what 13-year-old urban black males were interested in, because they said that's who sets the culture in the United States. I was like, what? And they go, oh yeah, culture comes from the youth, which is new. It used to be that culture was handed down. Culture comes from the youth. It comes from the cities, not from rural settings. It comes from blacks, not whites or Latinos or Asians. It comes from men or males, not females. Those are the ones that set the culture. And so that's, as we try to figure out how to advertise our products, that's who we're paying attention to. And I just thought, wow, that doesn't sound like a good idea. But that's what's in the air that we're breathing right now, that kind of idea. So I put in the Friday update last week the notes from Alan Jacobs' book, Breaking Bread with the Dead. It talks about our need to read old books so that we've got this historical perspective. And we're just getting some of that right here. Not that we believe something because it's old, but because it's proven. And also, of course, because it is given to us by God. Remember your leaders who have spoken God's word to you as you carefully observe the outcome of their lives. Imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We'll continue this on Monday.